Well, folks, The Amazing Spider-Man just came out, the Spider-Man reboot, and just came back from it, and it's not it's not as good as you might think it is. And that's coming from a Spider-Man fan, and a real Spider-Man fan. And when I say real fan, I'm saying I read the comics every now and then, but mainly they were origin comics and special comics that I may have seen in stores that I picked up and read a bit. Um, and every now and then in the series itself, like along the timeline, but not an avid, whatever, but not a real comic book Spider-Man fan, but definitely of the movies. I was a real fan of the movies. Um, this one, how do I? There were positives and there were negatives, and that's with any movie, but this one really showed. Um, the Okay, the negatives were uh, the acting was lacking in a lot of ways. Um, Andrew Garfield as the new Peter Parker slash Spider-Man was terrible. A weak actor, just weak in every way. His character was weak. He's supposed to be weak, but it was the weakness was overplayed. He was somehow too meek for even for Peter Parker. Um, Emma Stone really, she did a couple of things that disappointed me, um, which I'll get to in a moment. Uh, those are the main negatives, really. Um, Plus, it wasn't as. There are a couple other negatives, but they're smaller. I'll get to those in a moment. But the positives, it looked great. Um, it was like it was is the digital enhancing wasn't too much. Um, a lot of the time the CGI it's too much, but it was necessary. Um, it was not going to be as good had it not been this digitally laid out and planned. Um, Also, not all the acting was bad. In all honesty, the background civilian characters were actually very good actors. Um, the less important it was reversed. The less important characters or appearances, I guess you could say, were the better had more examples of better acting. It was, and from the main characters, um, the lizard aside, uh, the main good characters, Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker, it was either underacting or small moments of like overacting. Like, for example, when Gwen Stacy finds out for sure that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, the vigilante that everyone's worried about and all that, she should be, shocked, but also, wow, that's amazing that you do all that, but that's very dangerous, and I can't believe it's you the entire time. Her reaction was not was a silent one, but not um, silent like shock, like oh my goodness. It looked as if she just couldn't remember her line for a moment. Not oh my what no. It was just like she couldn't remember her line, and that's what happened. And then she was shocked that Emma Stone, in all honesty brilliant actor, couldn't remember her line. That's what it looked like. She was like, and then it was kind of funny because it set Peter Parker, Andrew Garfield's character of Peter Parker, up for a funny moment where he says "shut up" and just continues to kiss her, and that I thought was funny. Um, on another positive note, uh, the actor who played the Lizard, which I need to look up who that was because I know I've seen him in several other movies. Um, I actually can't believe that I don't remember him by name because I've seen him. He has a very memorable face, but um, his acting was brilliant, great, spot on. Like when he was going through the lapses of insanity, and that was progressing, and even in the you know setup, the sequel setup at the end during the credits, the beginning of the credits, uh, was very well played out. Uh, his acting was spot on. Um, but uh, oh, also the thing that Gwen Stacy did that I said earlier, I'll get to. Um, in the toward the end, he Peter Parker calls Gwen Stacy and does the smart thing that everyone would be yelling at the screen for him to do if he didn't do, which is call her and warn her because she's at Oscorp that the Lizard was on his way and she could be in terrible danger. Get out right then, or you'll die. Or there's a 90% chance you'll die. 95, really high, really good chance you'll die. Um, and she did for the first time for what I believe is her first time as a blonde in a movie or any production. Um, it kind of upset me because as her first role as a blonde, she actually did the blonde thing to do, which is ignore the obvious helpful advice of a person that you've trusted for long enough for you to actually trust their advice. Like um, when the dad of like when a dad calls his daughter and says hurry hurry, and the daughter stands up slowly and is like, oh, I don't know where to go or what to do. Run in one direction. Like that's what you do instead of her version of running in one direction, which is she knows exactly where she is, find the exit and leave. She actually says to him, I'm gonna go, or she says something along the lines of, I'm gonna help everybody else evacuate the building. Like, I'm gonna help everybody else get out. And she just, like, hangs up, and, like, right then. He, she said that she did that to stall, actually, which did end up helping out, but just initially, it was just an aggravating way to say, like, she could have been a little more heroic with it. I mean, she did have 8 minutes at the time until what was actually helpful in the end would happen. But just I don't know, it was just initially aggravating, I guess, just to me. But on a brighter note, visually it was an amazing movie. Visually it was amazing. Digital couldn't have done it without all that digital help. Um, also, uh, the score I did the score slash soundtrack the music of the movie. Um, let's say score because the what really struck out to me was, as it should have been, the end um, piece. I'll say piece. Um, after uh, after the death of Gwen Stacy's father, um, he's seen just like grieving, and that piece was very it portrayed the emotions perfectly. It was it's a strong piece. I don't know what it was, and I don't know if it would be online, considering DVD's not there. I don't know how I would look it up, but because it is still in theaters. But it's it was just a very strong and accurate portrayal of what was happening on screen. Um, so that was another plus. The score was good. Had perfect timing, perfect pacing. It was good. Also, um, let's see. I already went through the acting. I went through the dumb scenes. Oh, also, um, the at one point, when Peter Parker reveals to Gwen Stacy's father that it is Peter Parker who is Spider-Man, it takes off his mask and looks up at him and tells him the situation. And they were doing this. They were playing it out the smart way, the right way. Um, he told him, if you don't stop trying to stop me, uh, your daughter's gonna die, and so will everybody around you. I need to get to Oscorp so I can stop the bad guy, basically. And he said, okay, go ahead, hurry up. My daughter's life's at stake, go. Um, and so he told his men clearly and in a loud, clear voice, don't fire, hold your fire. But like 2 seconds after, like Spider-Man's on his way away, and oh, somebody shot. Of course, like was the one guy who just happened to not hear him because it was just one dude, and he was already sitting up, looking up into the air, and he shot. So either he heard and he was just shooting anyway, because well, we've been trying to find him for this long and we got him, or just ignorant enough to just not hear in the first place. Either way, it was a really dumb move, and it actually did hinder him from being able to. I mean, he still defeated the lizard, just not as quickly or as efficiently as he wanted to, or as he could have. So that was another hindrance. It's just a minor annoyance, not really much to go on. Not You can't really base your opinion solely on that, but on all of this, it was just I'd give this one 5.5 out of 10, maybe 6 out of 10, um, overall. So but yeah, that's about it actually. So this was me giving my 2 cents.